Hi guys, today we're going to be doing Practiceit Java Edition 5, Exercise 4.9, evenSumMax. So the question reads, write a method named evenSum that prompts the user for many integers and prints the total even sum and maximum of the even numbers. You may assume that the user types at least one non-negative even integer. Okay, so the first thing I'm just going to start off the bat with is creating the function. So let's do public static. I'm going to make it void because we're going to be printing our return. Okay, and remember, evenSum is just the name of the function, the name of the method that we're writing, right? Method named evenSum. Okay, so for this question, if you take a look at the example, what we have to do is first ask how many integers the user wants to input, right? So to do that, we have to use scanner. So to initialize a scanner object, you just have to use scanner, name your object. I'm naming mine n, set that equal to new scanner, and then system.in. Okay. So in the example, once we ask how many integers, the number in blue is what the user inputs. So we want to take that number because we want to ask the user n number of times for the next integer that they want to input. So to do that, I'm just going to first ask them, right? I'm going to print the question, how many integers? And once I ask them and once they reply with 4 in the example case, I want to put that in a variable. So I'm going to name mine times and .next int. And what this basically does is, using the scanner object, it sort of scans the 4 and puts it into the variable times. Okay, so the whole entire purpose of this method is to get the sum of the even numbers of the numbers the users give. So, and also to find the maximum. So to do that, I'm just going to initialize two variables called sum, set them equal to 0. And what's going to happen is, using sort of a loop, I'm going to go through all of these numbers, and if they're even, add it to the sum variable, and if they're even and bigger than the number that comes before, then I'm going to change it to equal to the max variable. Okay, so since we have to loop continuously, in this case 4 times, I think a for loop would be best. So I'm going to use the for loop int I is equal to 0, I is less than times, and then increase I. Okay, so now we have to do the same thing, right? If you've seen the example, we ask them, what's the next integer you want? And to do that, we're going to copy what we did on line 4 and just do system.out.print next integer. And similarly, now that we ask the question, they will answer, and we need to put that answer into a variable so we can use it. So what we're going to do is, I'm just going to create a variable called num, make it hold the integer. Okay, so now we have the integer, and we have to decide whether we can add it to sum and add it to the max, compare it for the max. So to do that, the baseline condition is that it has to be even. So I'm just going to use the if function, and how we're going to check that it's even is modulus divide. So basically, modulus returns the remainder of anything you divide by the number that comes after the modulus. And because 2 comes after the modulus, if the number is even, there's going to be no remainders. But in the case that it's odd, then there will be a remainder, and this condition will be false. So if we consider that num is even in this case, what we need to do is add it to sum. So I'm just going to do sum plus equal num. And then the next thing we need to do is max. And max, we don't just equal it right away. We have to check if the number is greater than the current value max is. So to do that, we're just going to do another if num is greater than max. And if it is, then what do we have to do? We have to set max equal to that new number. Okay, so now that we have everything set up, we just have to do the final step. If you look in the example, it asks us to print even sum is equal to, even max is equal to. So what we're going to do is just use the print function and do print even sum is equal to, and then add the sum variable we have, and then print the even max, and set that equal to the max variable we have. Oh, and you'll have to put ln after this first print, because ln just basically moves the second print onto the next line. Okay, and I think we're good to go.